Hello, my friends. Today is July the 13th, and this is a psychic reading for you if this is your birth date. This is a four-card pull to cover the year to follow. It can be 5 to 10 minutes long. Bear with me. I do psychic readings and healing work for nearly 40 years. I do a lot of internet readings. I do a lot of different modalities of healing out of my office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Check out my credits. The lens card for today, a challenge you might face, an action you can take to stay in balance, and an outcome. This is to cover the year. So the lens card for the year is the shaman, or the medicine person, or the healer, or that person who I think has looked deeply within themselves and come to places of healing, not necessarily curing, but healing some of the ways that person has thought about themselves, healing some of the concepts that person has kept around themselves, healing some of the physical ailments that that person has brought to themselves onto deep levels, healing their relationship with these things, healing their relationship with their inner child, their wounded child, their wounded healer, soon to be wounded healer. And that's what the I think the shaman is about, is becoming that that adult who heals, listens to and heals with love and compassion and dignity and strength and courage whatever wounds have been given, that the child still holds onto. And from that healing of that wounded child does the warrior come forth? Does the strength come forth? Does the courage come forth? Does the truth come forth to be able to be shared with others? And I think that's really what the shaman, or the medicine person, or the healer, or the doctor, in essence, spiritual doctor, does. They come to better places within themselves and they share it within the world. Often at times that takes a sense of becoming the hermit, so you can listen to yourself and go deeply within yourself, and then do all the different levels of understanding and growth that are required to come out the other side with a light that says, I found what I feel is, a good truth, a good answer. I don't have all the answers, but I think I have a answer that might help you along your path. And that's what the shaman is. And more, that shaman collects information, collects experience, collects truth to become fuller and brighter and able to heal, and able, again, not cure but to heal, to help people to come to terms with, to help people to come to see the light and the connection and the truth that sits at the bottom of a lot of things that we don't look at and we don't want to look at. So what's your particular challenge? Well, the Knight of Cups, I think on some level, the Knight of Cups is purposefully looking for love and wanting to be in love and wanting to share their love and share their service, and give their gold and give their pleasure, give their joy, give their inspiration, their heart-centered inspiration, to others, and to share it with the world. So that's your challenge. It's hard right now to share your joy. I think because something else is calling you. Something else is calling you. There's a pain inside of you, I think, this year that comes forward that says, yeah, but where's your joy? It's wrapped in this pain, and it's hard to extend away from this pain and see the light in myself and feel the light in myself, and respect and honor the light and truth in others. It's harder right now. It's there's more of a pain that sits inside. There's more of an anxiety that sits inside. It's hard to share one's love, even maybe even believe in the sense of love and connection to others. But the knight is, on their quest, and some part of you says, I have to be on my quest. I have to be on my quest for love. Love has to be at the center of what I do. Love has to be at the center of what I do. And if I can't extend that love out to others, how do I live? How do I find joy? How do I find my connection? And here comes the action to take the crow. Sometimes a sense of really deep love is about learning to love yourself first, and that's not selfish thing, to love yourself, to listen to yourself, to go deeply in yourself, to face some of the dark truths that you've held about yourself. There's a lot of negativity probably that has helped to create you as someone who wants to love and show love and share love. Often those of us who have been, shut off from what we thought was the way that we needed to be loved and to share love, go forward trying to find those ways, trying to make those connections, and trying to prove that something is brighter and better than what we experienced. And that's a sense of human law versus spiritual law. Human law is limited. Human law, our civilizations are built on, wider laws that don't necessarily play fairly for others and play fairly for each, and give justice to things in the way they should be given justice. It's kind of like go along to get along, follow the rules, don't go outside the box. But, the crow says, sometimes you have to caw louder than that. You have to caw the spiritual truth, call or caw the spiritual truth out. You have to tell the truth. You have to say what's really going on. You have to, for your own heart, share what's going on deeply inside of yourself. But first you have to find what's going on deeply inside of yourself. There's that shaman going into the quiet, going into the nature, finding the nature in themselves, asking the child the questions, and realizing that you have a lot of spiritual truth. You have a lot of clarity around what you can do and say to help others. And sometimes that comes as kind of a strong statement, and that's scary, to make strong statements to others. And I think on some level maybe you've been so geared to try to please everybody that you maybe have enabled others to not be able to hear your voice and your message, and maybe to deny your message has been to stay safe and to stay in flow. But if you've been denying your own message, the message that you feel like you want to put out there, out of a fear of how it will be recepted, out of a fear of whether you'll still be loved and honored and appreciated afterward, the crow says you got to tell your truth. You got to share your pain, and you got to share with compassion. You got to share the healing of that pain out into society. And that might not be comfortable for many people. That might not be comfortable for one person or many people or all of the people, because your truth is your truth and your path is your path. And the shaman knows that. Each shaman chooses their own path. Well, not necessarily chooses their own path, but has to follow their own path. Authentic paths. You can look like somebody else's path somewhat, but it's often their own path. It's their own body. It's their own consciousness. It's your own understandings that have to go forward, and in your own time and space and intelligence and intuition do you begin to grasp your path and grasp your sense of yourself and grasp your sense of wider truths and higher understandings, and then do you begin to speak out of them and say, yes, but I need to love myself, and I need to tell my truth so I can keep loving myself, and I have to let things go as they come along, and I'm going to, sometimes the best love that I can give is to tell the truth of what I believe and how that might, spark and inspire others to make dramatic, beautiful changes in their own lives that help them. And I think that's what the shaman's all about. Here's the outcome card. Connecting of shadow with light, connecting of understanding that becomes wisdom, that becomes, key to finding the center of balance in the midst of all the shades of grays and the things we can't see, and the things that we can see that we think are real but aren't necessarily real. It's the whole workings of our cosmos. This is a place of, I think, finding peace in that flow, a better peace and a greater understanding, a deeper connection. And it comes again with telling your soul truth, but you have to hear your soul truth first, and then you have to be quiet enough, hear it, feel it, and then tell it, out of a sense of love for yourself and out of a sense of love for others. And those who can hear it will hear it. Beautiful. Those who can't hear it beautiful. They're on their own path. Let them go. Just keep loving yourself and sharing your loving highest truth, which you are on the way to finding some deep peace of this year. Aho.